What I'm going to do is, I am going to trace the history of what we think is India, our imagination of a nation state called India. Hmm? The imagination, where did it start from? How did it gestate? So I hope you will forgive me if I use a lot of fancy terms, mm, if I use metaphors, and all of that. I'm sure that people here can forgive me for that. But would anybody contest if I say that India happened in 1947? Is there anybody who wants to contest that fact? The country called the nation state. Uh, the United Nations has a term called nation state. So the nation state called India happened in 1947. Okay. Now 1947 തൊട്ടിട്ട് 1950 വരെ I will use the RSS metaphor here, Bharat Mata. If Bharat Mata was gestating India in her womb, it was between 1947 to 1950 that India was a fetus. In 1950, India became a reality. Actually, it was November 26, 1949, but it was enacted finally on January 26, 1950. Okay? Now, what was India then? What exactly socially and politically was India then? Okay, what was India then? Now, there were 600 princely states. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളെ കുടുംബം വെച്ച് റൂൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന 600 സ്റ്റേറ്റ്സോളം. Then there was the British territory, ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് ഭരിച്ചിരുന്ന സ്ഥലം. Then there were people who were outside this. Okay, so in 1950, when the constitution was enacted, the states were divided into Part A, Part B, and Part C. Now, the whole idea of these states was, the whole idea why I was bringing this up was because, see, the idea of India at that point of time in 1950 was essentially based on a classical identity crisis. And so if we define Government of India Act and the Pune Pact, 1932 Pune Pact, where there were separate electorates. So in the idea of India already was Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, and these were the main identities. Dalit, Brahmin, you know. So in 1950 when this happened, when the states were divided, this division happened essentially on identity. Of course, you can contest me for making that claim. 1956 is the next important date in the history of evolution, constitutional evolution of this nation state. That is when the Indian state was reorganized based on language. Okay. Now my talk is called Evolution of Indian Social Polity through the lens of caste, religion, and language. Now, why do I call the Indian state a social polity and not a political society? Does anybody want to hazard a guess? I don't. I'm very uncomfortable just talking by myself. So, does anybody? Vidyanand, bolega? Why am I calling it? Absolutely. Thanks. It was the wrong person to ask. So we are essentially talking about how the Indian state has been formed since, how the politics has evolved since 1950. But 1952-ലാണല്ലോ നമ്മൾ ആദ്യത്തെ സർക്കാർ ഉണ്ടായത്, അല്ലേ? 1952, what was the government like? What was the parliament like? Who were the parliamentarians? Cherian Marsh knows this. One of my first works in life is this. We did a audit on the Indian government, and where we discovered that between 1952 and I think that was the time was 2004 was when it was released. 1952 and 1998, the number of Brahmins in the parliament Do you know how many Brahmins were there in the parliament in 1952? Anybody wants to hazard a guess? All of them were Brahmins. All of them were Brahmins. What? Most of them, all of them. There were one or two exceptions. Okay. Now, and from there to 1998, when you had the dominant caste, again, it was not BCs or anybody, dominant caste taking over the parliament. It was a huge shift. And the state I come from, Tamil Nadu. Now, actually, the politics is being defined by two big dominant castes, the Gaundars and the Tevars. With a rest shift on. Okay. So, most of what Indian society is, fortunately or unfortunately, is defined by this very small identity called caste. And all other identities get subsumed within that. അപ്പോൾ പോളിറ്റിക്സിൽ ഉണ്ടാവുന്നത് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ very funny thing, we'll use Trivandrum as an example. Trivandrum and Shashi Tharoor as an example. I love Shashi Tharoor. I know him personally, and on top of it, we have been sparring, and especially after Sabarimala, this man has gone office completely, and he thinks he's doing it because he will win back Thiruvananthapuram as a parliamentary constituency. And Cheriyan Mash and I were having this conversation just day before yesterday, whether he will be able to actually win this constituency, but which is another story altogether. I am not here to do any of that. But why would Shashi Tharoor, somebody like Shashi Tharoor, who claims a very liberal space, suddenly start saying that my social morality is much more important than constitutional morality? Why would he want to do that? Standing in a state like Kerala, which is supposed to be progressive, within quotes. I mean, it's another thing whether it's progressive or not. Within quotes, it's supposed to be progressive. Why would somebody like Shashi Tharoor, who has had an education, he studied in Fletcher School of Diplomacy, worked outside the country, and all of that, why would he suddenly come in and why is he so bothered about this whole conservative idea of menstruating women not being allowed into Sabarimala temple? What do you think that is happening? Hey, I actually want this as a 2-3-way project. If somebody can talk to me, it would be good. No Chandramohan, somebody else. No Chandramohan, no Vidyanand, somebody else. Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, he's yeah. Brilliant. Exactly where I wanted to go. Where do we identify ourselves as a nation or a nation state? Isn't it about our caste or language or religion? LM. Isn't that what we are talking about? We have been in the middle of a crisis right now. Pulwama. Okay. Pulwama and the whole war rhetoric after that. I'll get back to my organized script in a minute. But aren't we essentially talking about this identity? Who are we? Why did Shashi Tharoor actually make this digression and suddenly become this നല്ല നായരും അയാളിഞ്ഞിപ്പോൾ വെള്ളമുണ്ടും ഇതൊക്കെ എടുത്ത് ചന്ദനക്കുടിയൊക്കെ ഇട്ട് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അല്ലേ അയാൾ അങ്ങനെ ആയി മാറി. And that was what he was basically. And unfortunately, India, the idea of India is essentially that, is essentially language, caste, religion and language. Now I'll explain this. The Indian National Congress and the fight that both E.V. Ramasamy Nayakar and Baba Sahib had with the Indian National Congress was essentially about the Congress, about the caste, and Indian National Congress was, and I do not grudge it when some journalists said India is, some BBC journalists said India is Indira, Indira is India, because Indian National Congress was essentially what India was about. For people who do not know, I'll just introduce myself in my personal identity terms. My great grandfather founded the Congress in Kerala. Somebody called E. Mohidu Maulavi. Okay, so it's not that I have anything against the Congress, so I just want that out of the way. The idea of India was this completely upper caste Brahmin or upper caste Muslim idea, because even the idea of Azad's India was a very upper caste idea. Okay, so this idea did not have non-Hindi speaking. This is where we are going to come into non-Hindi speaking, non-upper caste people within that idea. But Nehruvian idea of the nation state, the Nehruvian terms of the nation state was essentially, yeah, you and I have been to school together. Obviously, I mean, in a country of 120 crores right now, we all know each other within this room. And how did this happen? So Nehruvian idea of that was, I know you, you know me, so you'll come sit with me in my ministry and my projects. And this essentially had to be a casted linguistic idea. Religion comes later. Religion has to do with RSS. And how did the Nehruvian idea get easily hijacked by RSS is something that I actually want to talk about. How did Congress facilitate the growth of the right wing is something that this lecture should be about. Okay. But the idea of the Indian nation state was essentially an upper caste idea, was a Brahmin idea. I'll actually say it was a Brahmin idea, and the Brahmin idea never allowed articulation of anybody who challenged them. Now, the first challenge to that idea was actually in the second roundtable conference, and which tragically ended up in the Pune Pact. Okay. Now, the Constitution of India is actually a very negotiated document, which should be a subject for a different lecture altogether, a negotiated document based on the Pune Pact, but we'll talk about that later. But the idea of the country, the idea of India, so to speak, was essentially this whole claim, okay, let me rephrase it. This whole claim to nationhood, the whole claim to owning the nation. Patriotism owning the nation. This whole claim to owning the nation was this claim to this entity, I mean, call it Bharat Mata, call it what you want, was this entity of a larger thing that will take care of my dominant caste interest or my caste interest. There were people left out of it. India even today has something like tens of thousands of castes, and most of them are not even represented. And I am not even talking about scheduled castes, scheduled tribes. I am talking about backward castes. Most of them are not represented in the idea of the Indian nation state. Okay. Now, within that, this is where the Indian nation state starts. അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന ചാലഞ്ച് എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ വാസ് ദ തെലങ്കാന മൂവ്മെന്റ്, നോട്ട് ദ പ്രസന്റ് തെലങ്കാന മൂവ്മെന്റ്, ദ ഒറിജിനൽ തെലങ്കാന മൂവ്മെന്റ്, വിച്ച് സെഡ് വി വാണ്ട് എ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ അവർ ലാംഗ്വേജ്. We want a state based on our language, and plus they got the state based on the language. The states were reorganized, and then when they tried imposing Hindi as a national language, I think we need to thank the Dravida movement for putting things in perspective, saying that, sorry, okay. So that is where the second level of nationalism comes from, language. Whose language? What language? Now let's connect. At some point of time, I'll try to connect Hindi with Brahminism. Okay, that's the second thing. And the third thing is religion. Now I'll come to religion a little later, after I have sort of established language and the hegemony of language and caste. But in the meantime, I need to apologize upfront. I need to give a caveat. The caveat being that the other identities here, in terms of whether it is gender, sexuality, ability, all other identities are subsumed within the social polity, within these larger identities, and that is why I'm not talking about that. It's not that they are not important. I hope I'm forgiven for that. Okay? So these are important identities, but they're subsumed within the larger this thing. Okay, but then now let us try to establish language and caste. Rather than give a lecture, let me. ഇപ്പോൾ കേരളത്തിൽ മലയാളം നമ്മൾ സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ആക്ച്വലി ഐ ഹാവ് എ സ്റ്റോറി ടു ടെൽ അബൌട്ട് ദിസ്. ഞാൻ ആ കഥ പറയുന്നതിൻ്റെ മുമ്പ് എത്ര മലയാളം ഉണ്ട് കേരളത്തിൽ? ആരെങ്കിലും പറയാമോ? ആരൊക്കെ എന്തൊക്കെ മലയാളം സംസാരിക്കും? ബഷീറിൻ്റെ കഥ ഒന്നും വായിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാരൊന്നുമില്ല ഇവിടെ? Come on.
Almost every caste has their own language.
Own language, exactly. Almost every caste, community, everybody has their own language. And what is actually sold as Malayalam in literature, in newspaper, in high culture, is basically the Sanskritized Malayalam. നമ്മളൊന്നും വീട്ടിലും ഒന്നും സംസാരിക്കാത്തൊരു സാധനമാണ് അവിടെ എഴുതി നമ്മളെ കയ്യിൽ തരുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യം, മൈ ഗ്രാൻഡ് മദർ, she had, some of you might know of her. I had a fan page for her and she had a huge fan following. She had dementia towards the end of her life. ഭയങ്കര മോശമായിട്ടുള്ള dementia, and she didn't even remember her daughter. But she remembered, she was a school teacher, she retired as a headmistress, but she remembered her school times and all of that. അപ്പോൾ ഇവർ മൊത്തം റിപ്പാർട്ടിൻ്റെ ഉസ്താദാണ്. എന്ത് പറഞ്ഞാലും ഇമ്മീഡിയറ്റ്ലി ഷീ വിൽ ഹാവ് എ റിട്ടോർട്ട്. ആൻഡ് ഷീ ഹാഡ് ദിസ് ഹോൾ ബാഗേജ് ഓഫ് പ്രോവേർബ്സ് വിത്ത്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഇവരെ കളിയാക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇവർ ഉടനെ തന്നെ കയറിയിട്ട് പറയും, ഇന്ദടെ തലോണ്ട് അബ്ബടെ തലോണ്ട് ഇന്ദക്കൊരു കളി എന്ന് പറയും. Can anybody think what that means? Can anybody try to translate that? അബ്ബടെ തലോണ്ട് ഇന്ദക്കൊരു കളി. ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ട്രാൻസ്ലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ശ്രമിക്കണം? ആരെങ്കിലും ശ്രമിക്കണം? അബ്ബ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ നാട്ടിൽ ചെറമക്കൾ എന്ന് പറയും. ചെറമക്കൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ദളിത്സാണ്. ചെറമക്കൾ അമ്മയെ അബ്ബ എന്നാ വിളിക്കുക. അപ്പൊ അമ്മയുടെ തലോണ്ട് അപ്പനൊരു കളി എന്നാണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ whenever we teased her, she would say, and I was surprised at the range of language that would come from them. And unfortunately, all of this gets lost in this whole casted idea of what language is. Namla idea of Malayalam, so if you disagree, please tell me, our idea of language is essentially the Sanskritized എത്ര നന്നായിട്ട് മലയാളം, എത്ര സാൻസ്ക്രിറ്റൈസ് ചെയ്ത് പറയാൻ പറ്റുന്ന മലയാളം അല്ലേ നമ്മളെ ഐഡിയ ഓഫ് ലാംഗ്വേജ്. And fortunately we had somebody like Bashir who threw it out of the window, but otherwise isn't that what our idea of language is? So this whole idea of language in terms of imagining, so let us sort of superimpose this in terms of our idea of nationhood. Is there a connection between nationhood and language? Is there a connection? I'll get back to a couple of poems and songs, since Chandramohan and Vidyanand and all of them are here. We'll get back to a couple of poems and songs. But isn't there a connection between nationhood and language? Isn't there a connection between how we perceive India as in terms of a nation. Is there or isn't there? How many of us know the meaning of our national anthem? No, I'm not a patriot, by the way. I would like to be called an anti-national. But yeah, but how many of us know the meaning of the national anthem? How many of us, you know? Did you raise your hand? No? Your friend? No. Okay, let me throw up, and I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. Throw a question up front. Is Janagana Mana an inclusive song? Or is it an exclusive song? I am getting back to language and nationality in a moment. I want to talk in terms of a national anthem. I'm sure all of us have sung this song, yeah. Come on.
It doesn't include something else.
It does, but can somebody? Not a requirement, yeah. Dravida Utkala Vanga Janagana Mana. Just think of the states that are and the regions that are cited. So what is the idea of India? What is the idea of India under Tagore? I love Tagore, by the way. It's not. We'll keep that aside. But this song, what is the idea of India within this song? Let's look at the geographic list he lists. Parayu. Excellent. Somebody actually said it. And can't people from Northeast feel terrible about the fact that they are missing? Can somebody list? Can you just list the
Punjab,
Gujarat, Maratha, Dravida, Utkala, Banga. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും ദ്രാവിഡന്മാരാണ്. പഞ്ചാബും സിന്ധു അതിപ്പോൾ പാകിസ്ഥാനിൽ പോയി. പഞ്ചാബ്, സിന്ധ്, ഗുജറാത്തി, മറാഠി, ദ്രാവിഡന്മാർ, ഉത്കളന്മാർ, ഒഡിസ, ബംഗ. North East is completely not part of it. And we claim North East is part of India. I'm not saying change the national anthem. I'm saying how the idea of the nation. Please don't read me otherwise. Okay, I'm not being anti-India or anything like that. I'm just trying to say how we build the idea of India, where the idea of India is being built. I'm just trying to demonstrate that. Kashmir was never part of India. That should be another lecture altogether. Kashmir was never part of India till the accession, Treaty of Accession, which is a totally different story altogether. This idea, the Tagore idea of India ആണ് നമുക്ക് പിന്നെ നാഷണൽ ആന്തമായി വന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ തെറ്റൊന്നുമില്ല. ടാഗോറിന് ഇതാണ് his idea of India within his understanding. The thing is, how do we approach that? The thing is, how does the state approach that? The thing is, how does the state try to impose these kind of songs on us as national songs? പിന്നെ അടുത്ത പാട്ട് വന്ദേ മാതരമാണ്, which is actually an artist's song, whether we like it or not. And then you have another beautiful song, which is actually written by the national poet of Pakistan called Sare Jahan Se Acha, which again is in Hindustani. അപ്പോൾ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഇടയിൽ ഈ നാഷണൽ പോയിറ്റ്സും ഇതൊക്കെ പറയുമ്പോൾ സുബ്രഹ്മണ്യ ഭാരതിയൊന്നും ഇന്ത്യയെ കുറിച്ചിട്ട് സങ്കല്പമില്ല. അയാൾ പട്ടരാണ്, പക്ഷെ അയാൾക്കും ഇന്ത്യയെ കുറിച്ചിട്ട് സങ്കല്പമില്ല. അയാളെ ഇന്ത്യയെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള പാട്ടുകളൊക്കെ എവിടെയാണ്? I'm just asking. I'm just wondering about. കേരളത്തിലുള്ള കവിമാരും ഒന്നും ഇന്ത്യയെ കുറിച്ചിട്ട് പാടിയിട്ടില്ല. So what is being promoted or what is being sold as the idea of the nation? Now can you? So I asked the question. Can somebody respond? Can somebody respond? So what is being sold to us as the idea of the nation?
What we have currently is what we have done, what we have done all these songs. What we are seeing is each poet's fragmented view, different fragmented view in the language in which they are talking. The fact that you mentioned that Northeast is not mentioned along with Rabindranath Tagore. I know a lot of Bengalis, at least the few I know, who always consider Northeast as their backyard.
Bengalis have other stupid notions. We'll not get into that.
But I think they somehow feel that it's just an extension of their land, which they go on holidays for and just sightsee and they may
Come back.
That's the. I'm not so sure whether what Rabindranath Tagore was thinking about what his views were. But I think
No, I think you're missing my point. My point is not about Tagore's imagination of India. My point is about the Indian states selling of the idea of India and how they use Tagore. But do we? Do we have a choice? Who is the state? And that's what I'm questioning. That's the question. In this, okay, I have to say I never stood up. So, yeah, but who puts this options in front of you? What is this whole idea of the nation? Who is forcing it exactly? And what is this government? Can we question this government? It's a larger thing. That is not my argument at all. My no. To start with, I think she raised the should we have a national anthem, and why did the Bengali song, by the way, get Sanskritized? Janagana Mana was originally a Bengali song. Why did it get Sanskritized? No. So, do we need national songs to be a nation? Do you and I have enough in common to have an identity beyond Narendra Modi or Rahul Gandhi telling us that we should be a nation? How does this idea of nation come from? What is this idea of nation? What is this idea of Indian nation? That's the question I'm asking.
So if you look at Sri Lanka, after the civil war, they have a new national anthem. The first few lines are similar. It just switches to Tamil.
No, Sri Lanka, it's a slightly more complex. Finally, Sri Lanka is, you actually had a genocide that happened there. So then they included Tamil. So we leave Sri Lanka out. But let us look at ourselves. അടുത്ത വീട്ടിൽ അഴുക്ക് കളയുന്നതിൻ്റെ മുമ്പ് നമ്മളെ വീട്ടിൽ അഴുക്ക് നമ്മളൊന്ന് തുടച്ചു മാറ്റണ്ട. So what is this idea of India? That's what I mean, is it song? Is it language?
It's just a notion. See, it's like imagination of all of us together via something, and that is there because all of us.
If I say the only thing that holds India together, if I say, I might be sounding blasphemous. There's somebody who's listening to me very keenly what I'm going to say next. If I say, if I say, India, the notion of India is a caste notion. The only thing that holds India together is caste. Would I be blaspheming? Yeah, but it's caste. ആ ഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ ഈ ഒറ്റ സാധനം കശ്മീർ തൊട്ടിട്ട് കന്യാകുമാരി വരെ ഒറ്റ സാധനമേ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നുള്ളൂ കാസ്റ്റ്. അത് അക്രോസ് റിലീജിയൻസ്, അക്രോസ് ലാംഗ്വേജസ്. ഇപ്പം ഞങ്ങളുടെ നാട്ടിൽ ഒസാമാർ എന്ന് പറയും. ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ ഹൗ മെനി പീപ്പിൾ അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് വാട്ട് ഒസാൻ ഇസ്. മാപ്പിളാർ ഒസാമാരെ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കില്ല. പൂസ്ലാർ എന്ന് പറയും, കടപ്പുറത്ത് മുസ്ലിംസ്. മാപ്പിളാർ അവരെ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കില്ല. ഇവിടെ ഭീമാപള്ളി പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു ക്യാൻ സീ ദ വേഴ്സ് ദൻ ദളിറ്റ്സ്. ദ കണ്ടീഷൻ, ദ മുസ്ലിംസ് ഇൻ ഭീമാപള്ളി, ദ കണ്ടീഷൻ ഇസ് വേഴ്സ് ദൻ ദളിറ്റ്സ് ആൻഡ് ക്രിസ്ത്യൻ ഫിഷർ. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ എത്തി. ബുദ്ധിസ്റ്റാണ്, അംബേദ്കറൈറ്റ് ബുദ്ധിസ്റ്റാണ്. അംബേദ്കറൈറ്റ് ബുദ്ധിസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ദേ ഡിസൈഡ് യുവർ ദളിത്. കഴിഞ്ഞോ? Christianity, I don't have to tell you. Latin Church, I really don't have to tell any of you how Christianity practices caste. So is there a place within this subcontinent, and I'm not just including the idea of India as a nation, in South Asia, is there a place that caste hasn't touched? Is there a corner that caste hasn't touched? Now, both our religion and languages have been mediated through caste.
ആൾക്കാർ ചോദ്യം ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഒരു സാധനം, അത് അവർ ചോദ്യം ചെയ്തിട്ട് റെഗുലറായി പോകുന്ന ഒരു സാധനം. അതും we don't have a theory. We don't have a theory of nation in it. Name like that. I don't need it. It doesn't need to be a Dalit name. It can be. How we address it? Have I answered you? Yeah. So we'll get back to this.
What causes the divisions within the whole idea of nation? I personally feel that idea doesn't exist.
The idea of nation.
Yes, it doesn't exist.
I agree. So, we're not disagreeing there. No. And Hindutva as a religion, if you break it, this place actually is actually be a Brahmodi in one level. Because he's made us aware that we are sitting on a time bomb. So if we are not careful about the plurality, this can break into. We need to understand we are all different. We need to understand that language, caste. We need to understand this. The BJP in our Congress or none of this idea of grand nationalism ever. Nation, ഒരു homogeneity, the idea of a nation. South Africa is an interesting idea. വെള്ളക്കാരുടെ ഇടയിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന തല്ലും ഇതെല്ലാം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് they have been able to establish themselves as a nation. No. The only criteria politically to define a nation is what I would call enfranchisement. Every single adult's right to be part of the polity. Actually, now survive as a nation is we can actually bring in something called proportional representation. But that is when.
Isn't that caste? India, okay, let me answer this in a different way. In Indian context, ആരാണ് കക്കൂസ് കഴുകാറ്? അത് വീട്ടില്. Who said that? Yeah, അത് വീട്ടില്. അതല്ലെങ്കിൽ പബ്ലിക് ടോയ്ലറ്റ് ആരാ കഴുകാറ്? ഇത് കാസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ. ഇതിലൊരു കാസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ. ആ കാസ്റ്റാണല്ലോ അവിടെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ്. കാസ്റ്റ് ഇല്ലാതെ എൻ്റെ അറിവിൽ ഒരു ബ്രാഹ്മണൻ കക്കൂസ് കഴുകിയിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ എൻ്റെ അറിവിലില്ല കേട്ടോ. ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പറയണം, ഞാൻ അപ്പം തന്നെ ഫോട്ടോ എടുത്തിട്ട് ഫേസ്ബുക്കിൽ അപ്ലോഡ് ചെയ്യും. ഞാൻ പിന്നെ എൻ്റെ ഐഡിയ ഓഫ് മെറിറ്റ് ഐ വിൽ ചേഞ്ച്. സോ ദ ഐഡിയ ഓഫ് മെറിറ്റ് ഇസ് എസെൻഷ്യലി ടു കീപ് ഹർ there cleaning a toilet, and that's the problem with the idea of merit. Her knowledge, and we leave caste and everything out. നമ്മളെ വീട്ടിൽ തന്നെ എൻ്റെ ഭാര്യയാണെങ്കിൽ ഐ എം നോട്ട് മാരിഡ്, എൻ്റെ ഭാര്യയാണെങ്കിൽ അവിടെ ഇരുന്നിട്ട് വീട്ടിൽ അടുക്കളപ്പണി ചെയ്യണം. അപ്പോൾ അവരുടെ ഐഡിയ ഓഫ് മെറിറ്റ് വുഡ് ബി ജസ്റ്റ് അടുക്കള. ആൻഡ് ദെൻ ഈവൻ വി ഡോണ്ട് ഈവൻ കമ്പ്യൂട്ട് അവർ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നതിൻ്റെ കമ്പ്യൂട്ടേഷൻ പോലും നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് വാട്ട് മെറിറ്റ് ഇസ് അബൌട്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അവർ വീട്ടിൽ ഭക്ഷണം ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നു, വീട് ക്ലീൻ ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഒരു ദിവസം ഐ എം ഷുവർ മൈ മദർ വർക്ക്സ് 12 to 14 hours a day and she doesn't get paid. I am sure that her merit is not computed. So what is merit? For me it's an elusive concept. Next.
Actually, caste again is going to be perpetuated.
True. This is a often question that is asked. Okay. Are we going to, the term I would prefer to use is annihilation of caste. Would caste get annihilated if you have proportional representation? The idea is that we get on to a term, to an idea, into a space to a political space in life, a political age in life, where let me put it this way, let me use a metaphor. ഈ പഴയ കഥയുണ്ടല്ലോ, മുയലും ആമയും തമ്മിലുള്ള ഓട്ടപ്പന്തയം. അപ്പോൾ തൽക്കാലം ഒന്ന് മുയൽ ഉറങ്ങട്ടെ, മുയൽ ഉറങ്ങിയിട്ട് ഒരു സൈഡിൽ ഒന്നിച്ചെത്തി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് then we'll think of annihilation. The point is, we cannot, today when casteism is so prevalent, we cannot say, it is too early to say that we cannot take up methods to counter that other. It's too early to say that. So once we have reached there, let's reach the bridge and we'll cross it. And at that point, obviously, we will have to stop proportional representation. What you're saying is absolutely true. ഇത് പിന്നെ അവിടെ ഉണ്ടാവാൻ പോകുന്നത് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ എൻ്റെ കാസ്റ്റ് വെച്ചിട്ടേ ഞാൻ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കുള്ളൂ, അവിടെ അതൊക്കെ ശരിയാണ്. ബട്ട് വി നീഡ് ടു റീച്ച് ദ ബ്രിഡ്ജ്.
Kerala experience, actually, compared with the other states in India, I think it's quite unique enough that we have this kind of situations where caste is internalized in a manner that we cannot help it. And that I consider as a part of the poverty of modernity and the type of education we have, and also the kind of uncivilization.
As a part of a society, yeah.
Especially no Malayali knows what was his pre-9th century kind of context.
No Malayali claims itself to be a Tamil. So we'll just get that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is, but for that, I think in spite of those limitations, Malayalis have really advanced in terms of going out of this kind of
I'm not sure.
situation that you see in North India or elsewhere.
No, Malayalis are definitely better off than the rest of India, and that's why I think, I'm sorry, there are no newspaper reporters here, no? I think Kerala should secede. But that apart, jokes apart, are we really that progressive? We are hidden misogynists, we are hidden castes. ഇതൊക്കെ നമ്മളെ ഇടയിൽ ഇരുന്ന് കളിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സാധനമാണ്. ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ് വി ആർ മച്ച് ബെറ്റർ ദൻ റെസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യ, ദറ്റ് ഐ അഗ്രി. വി ആർ നോട്ട്. എന്നാലും നമ്മളെ ഇടയിൽ ആ പയ്യനെ കൊന്നല്ലോ, ഒരു ക്രിസ്ത്യൻ ബോയ് ഹു മാരീഡ്, കെവിൻ. ദറ്റ് ഓൾ ഹാപ്പൻസ് ഇൻ നമ്മുടെ കേരളത്തിലല്ലല്ലോ നടക്കുന്നത്. ആദിവാസിയെ കൊന്നു. Yeah, that was purely honor killing. That was purely honor killing because he married an upper caste Christian, and it's the same religion. So, I mean, we would like to think that Kerala is better, but I'm not sure whether we are. So, yeah, we are. Exposed us like really badly. Tharoor exposed himself. I call it Tharoor's stripping act. What's your name? Jaya. Okay, Jaya. I'm not going to ask your surname. Okay. But ഇതിലുണ്ടാവുന്ന ഒരു പ്രശ്നം എന്താണെന്നറിയോ? നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും നമ്മൾ എവിടുന്നാണ് വരുന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ജീവിതം. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ കാസ്റ്റൊക്കെ വിടാം. ഐ എം മെയിൻലി ഒരു വുമൺ അല്ലേ? അപ്പം നമ്മളെ ഇടയിൽ ഒരു പവർ ഈക്വേഷൻ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ഒരു ജെൻഡർ പവർ ഈക്വേഷൻ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ. ഇത് സർനെയിം ഒന്നും വേണ്ട. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പവർ ഈക്വേഷൻ നമ്മൾ ജനിച്ച സ്ഥലത്ത് നിന്നാണ് അല്ലേ? എൻ്റെ ജെൻഡറും നിങ്ങളെ ജെൻഡറും ആണല്ലോ. ഇത് തന്നെയാണ് സർനെയിമിനും നടക്കുന്നത്. ഹൂ സേസ് വാട്ട് ആൻഡ് വൈ? Who says what and why essentially comes from, and that's why it's important to notice that. No. Is there a text? This is a larger question. Is there a text without the author? Can I read something without? Is there a vacuum in which creation happens? Is there a social vacuum in which any creativity happens? The text ആണെങ്കിലും software ആണെങ്കിലും history ആണെങ്കിലും literature or കവിതയോ എന്താണെങ്കിലും is there a vacuum in which anything happens? ഇല്ല, ഓത്തറിനെ നോക്കാതെ നമുക്ക് എങ്ങനെയാ ഒരു ടെക്സ്റ്റ് റീഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുക? ഐ എം ജസ്റ്റ് ക്യൂരിയസ്. Yes, yes, it's very essential. That's okay. The person can change. The person can change. See, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, when he was in South Africa, he called all blacks kafirs. And by the time he died, he changed a lot. But it still doesn't change his racism. The question is not about us, no? Question is, what do we read? What is there to read? What did Gandhi leave in his life? What did B.R. Ambedkar leave in his life? What did Savitribai Phule leave in her life? അല്ലേ? ഇവര് ഇല്ലാതെ അവരുടെ ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവുമോ? ഗാന്ധിയുടെ ജീവിതം ഇല്ലാതെ അയാൾ മഹാത്മയാവോ? അതൊന്നും, അയാൾ ബ്രാഹ്മണല്ലായിരുന്നു, അയാൾ ബനിയായിരുന്നു. അയാൾ ബനിയെ അങ്ങനെയാണ് അയാള്. But unfortunately, Gandhi himself spoke like a Baniya, no? Unfortunately, all of us friends were Baniyas. Birla, Tatas. Ella, it's like saying, can I speak?
I wonder how many people know that he was a Baniya.
That's another question, yeah.
I'm honestly asking, how many people vote for Shashi Tharoor?
Because knowing that he's an Nair.
Thinking that he is.
He's a
How many
Nair.
people know that he is a
He's a Nair. And again, Shashi Tharoor's mistake. Shashi Tharoor thinks that
His
he's...
mistake.
Yeah.
He was spoiled by Shabarimala.
Shabarimala, exactly.
Until then,
And that's what we were talking. Until then, nobody knew he was an Nair.
nobody knew he was a Nair.
Absolutely. You know, very recently, this woman from Tamil Nadu managed to get a no caste certificate. Then I had to sort of, I dug into who this woman was. Then finally I realized that she was a Brahmin. So anybody who wants to get a no caste certificate has to be privileged. So we'll talk about that later. Yeah. Any other questions?
Everybody needs somebody to look down upon. The hierarchy of opinion.
Any society, yeah.
Even the so-called lowest caste.
Mm.
There are so many subdivisions.
Subdivisions.
Everybody, probably even more than.
See, I will tell you a story. ഒരു ഈസോപ്പിൻ്റെ കഥയാണ്. I'm sure all of you know of Aesop, no? Aesop's fables. So there's an Aesop's fable where all the rabbits, all rabbits, they stand together. They say, everybody hunts us. We are scared of the entire world. So, it's pointless living. Let's go commit suicide. തീരുമാനിച്ചിട്ട് ഈ റാബിറ്റ്സ് എല്ലാം കൂടെ they decide to go drown in the lake and die. എല്ലാം കൂടെ പോവാണ്.
Would you please come closer?
Sorry. എല്ലാം കൂടെ പോവാണ്. I thought I am loud enough, no? You can hear me. Yeah. എല്ലാം കൂടെ പോവാണ്. അപ്പോൾ പോകുന്ന വഴിക്ക് ആ ശബ്ദം കേട്ടിട്ട് അവിടെ കുളത്തിൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് കുറേ തവളകൾ നിന്ന് കളിക്കുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഈ ശബ്ദം കേട്ട് പേടിച്ചിട്ട് ഈ തവളകൾ കുളത്തിൽ ചാടി. So the leader of the rabbits says, stop. There are people who are more scared of us than we are. So let's leave. That is what the caste system or any hegemony is about. Obviously, dreaming about a world without hegemony, we can always dream. I don't know when we'll reach there, but it's good to dream, no? Yeah. ഓക്കെ, സബ്സ്യൂം ചെയ്യുക എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് ആക്ച്വലി പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് മൈ പ്രോജക്റ്റ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് പറഞ്ഞാണ് നമ്മൾ വോട്ടിംഗ് പാറ്റേൺസ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഒരു കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യുവൻസിയിൽ വിമൻസ് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യുവൻസി അല്ല ജനറൽ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യുവൻസി ആണെങ്കിൽ only three factors come into play in choosing the candidate: the candidate's caste, religion, and language.